And here we are, the final clip of the game. It may not have been as interesting as I originally thought, but it was still fun for what it's worth, even if it's gone on a bit too long. Are we supposed to purge the flames or throw something into the flames to be purged? I know it's a metaphorical flame and all that, but still, it could be a little more clear. I'm sorry, but the game never made it especially clear why a province during the Sengoku era would be so focused on a drug trade, or why the indistinct foreign nations would want this fantasy version of opium to sell. When they say, kill all the villagers, I really hope we don't see any civilians here. That would make things a little awkward. Oh wait, the first person we see is a civilian. Bloody hell. This game just does not make the briefings we get feel actually informative. In fact, I'm pretty sure whoever wrote the briefings before missions didn't get to coordinate with the people actually setting things up from mission to mission. Okay, apparently this isn't going to be one of my stealthier missions despite my attempts at the start. Guess I just want to get things over with. Understandable considering how much crap we've gone through just to get this far. And also considering how little has actually changed from one mission to the next. Seven down, 14 more to go. Again? With how much we keep going for the rooftops, I have no clue why this game doesn't actually let us interact with ladders. Seriously, why bother having any ladders to be seen in the game if we're never allowed to actually climb them and never see any of the enemy use them? Oh, come on. I call bullshit on that one. The guy somehow didn't hear the fighting or see us on the rooftop, but he somehow smelled us with just enough time to fully be ready to fight us instantly? I was expecting him to jolt in surprise for a moment. Huh. Been a while since we've seen anyone patrolling on a rooftop. I was certainly expecting that to be far more common, considering just how many ninjas we've been dealing with over the course of the game and how far into the game we are. Again, the dog doesn't count on the kill counter, even if it's explicitly a hostile dog. Really? We don't get the special kill through the door animation? I feel kinda cheated there. I know I've seen it several times in this game, but it's still worth seeing again. Right. Just two more and we're done with this one. And there are just 2 missions left in the game before the credits roll and we can say we're done with this game. Yeah. Really doubt we're gonna get a Ninja 5 with the sheer number of times we've been spotted in this one. And then there was one. Please don't tell me the final person we have to kill for the mission isn't a civilian. I am very much under the distinct impression that civilian deaths are frowned upon by the clan we work for. That's how it's been in every other mission, and I just don't think they would have changed that for us this many missions in out of nowhere. I certainly don't see anyone else wandering around, though I suppose there are still some buildings we haven't checked yet. Ah, that's a good sign. And of course, the last girl notices us as well. We have just not been an especially subtle agent of the night for this one, have we? Kind of wish I could give a damn about us burning everything to the ground here. But despite the fact that it's the 49th mission, it somehow doesn't feel earned. As a side note, I can't help noticing that the character standing there was a generic sprite that had nothing to do with the character we've created. As if the game didn't feel lazy enough already. And holy shit, spotted 8 times and we still get a Ninja 5 rating? Have I mentioned that the game feels pretty forgiving of my stupidities? No, we did not do an ugly duty there, since it was no different from plenty of the other kill everyone missions we've seen over the course of the game. There was no added moral ambiguity there compared to every other time we have had to kill all hostiles in a given map. Have you just not paid attention to the missions we've been getting for the entire game?
未だ小川原との戦力に差があることは明白である。合田が生き残る術は、時の声が上がる前に敵国の侍大将を討ち取り、采配を振るう者を消す以外道は残されていないのである。
I would have thought that killing their general would have been one of the first things we did, not something we do just before the first major battle. Though I suppose taking him down just before the battle starts at all would kind of maximize the chaos. I just wish the game did more to make it feel like this was a genuine bit of tactics, instead of something thrown in for the sake of giving us something to do, and an overly long game with very little to actually offer us. The only real novelty is that we're going to the battlefield map, a place we've barely touched in this game. At least compared to everywhere else we've been over the course of the game as a whole. Anyway, seems I'm again not being especially stealthy this far in. I'm just too tired of things around here and want to hurry along to the credits. Again, not a thing you want to feel when you're going through a stealth game. And it really doesn't make the idea of going through another stealth game anytime soon feel especially smart to me. Not the other Tenchu games and not any of the Splinter Cell or Metal Gear Solid games. I just want to go through some direct combat for a while instead of trying to sneak up on people. Not that I absolutely hate stealth games because of this overly long mess that reuses the same maps, but again, the EDF games and Samurai Warriors games do a better job of repeating maps and keeping things interesting. This game has just been a bit of a drag. definitely loses part of the charm of the game when direct fighting isn't as much of an issue for us. At the start, we had to avoid getting into brawls because those were genuinely dangerous for us. Now we're overpowering enough to take on 3-to-1 odds with little worry other than just what the end of mission score might look like. And as I've repeatedly said, I can't find it in me to care all that much about our mission scores considering how forgiving the scores have felt to me. The vast majority of missions have ended with Ninja 5 ratings, and that gives the possibility of just false impressions that have been especially amazing for a large chunk of the game. I certainly don't feel like we've been all that amazing in my mind, though maybe I'm just being overly harsh on myself and the game. I certainly wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. I know I said this in a previous mission where we went to this location, but the Blood and Corpses really give the impression that we've already gone through open battles between the two factions. Yet the pre-mission briefings say we're still just before the major battles have started. And it's not like we've gotten a sense of smaller scale skirmishes, just that we've been sent out as a ninja to kill several people, supposedly undetected, for an obscene number of missions. There's a whole lot of war in the shadows, where I have not gotten too much of a sense of an actual war. Okay, apparently enemies are starting to carry around rifles. Especially, odd that it took them this long since we've dealt with how many arms dealers so far? And that's another mission done. Just one more mission to end the game. And once again, Ninja 5 when I very much feel that isn't warranted, which makes the reward of that rating feel kind of pointless overall. I've certainly been in an odd mood with some of the games I've been LPing lately. I end up feeling more pleased at our failures rather than the successes we've gone through. I know that Tenchu does mean essentially divine punishment or punishment on behalf of the heavens. Considering how much the word Tenchu was written during the period of the Meiji Revolution when the Tokugawa shogunate lost its power after a few hundred years, I'm surprised that the Tenchu series did not take place in that time period instead of the Sengoku. Wait, we won the battle and don't get any real details about it despite... bloody hell, why was I even expecting anything better than that? Is there any reason other than to pad the game out that we didn't take out the daimyo of this hostile clan before now? Not that this game has done much with the leader of the Ogawara clan, though they've done more in this game than anything with the leader of the Goda clan, or Rikimaru, who's been giving us our missions and is supposed to be our immediate superior. And have I mentioned that Shiggy, our supposed rival, has barely gotten much of anything in this game as well? Well, I'm certainly doing a better job of ripping through this mission than the previous one. Possibly because the enemies are more spread out, possibly because the terrain is more familiar to me. It's kinda hard to tell, really. Well, it certainly took long enough for them to notice us in this one. And again, I'm not feeling any form of tension despite how late in the game we are. I'm sure the music is rather tense and fits the point of the story we're in. It certainly is a different track from the ones we've heard repeated over and over at this point of the game, but it is not helping this situation considering, again, we have gone through this castle how many times? Really? He jumped onto our rooftop when he didn't intend to and ended up losing track for us for a bit. Excuse me for finding that just sad. And that should do it for the first floor. I suppose I could have climbed the castle from the outside, but even as tired of the game as I am at this point, I still prefer clearing out enemies as we work our way to the objective point. And considering this is the final mission where we take on the leader of the Yokawara clan in his own castle, it's pretty obvious he's going to be waiting for us at the top. The only real question is, are we going to get a rematch with Shiggy, or are we only going to take on the daimyo of the poorly developed hostile clan of this game? Either way, there's probably an unavoidable boss fight about to come. Huh, empty? Ah, so his sprite didn't show up until we entered the room, so we wouldn't have the chance to try to stealth kill the final boss. And of course our player character doesn't even try to sneak up on the guy despite being a frickin' ninja. Good God, can you possibly be any more of a generic evil overlord? You're not gonna get any conversation from this girl. They didn't even give her a proper voice actress. All she does is just occasionally grunt when getting hit. Anyway, he seems to have a very distinct weapon, basically a rifle with a bayonet. It's nothing exciting in any way, but still unique considering what else we've seen so far in the game. Oh dear, rather not have to go through this mission over again. Yeah, we're close to dead and he's halfway there. Well, shit. Definitely a change of pace from us being pretty damn unstoppable for a large chunk of the game. Definitely wish we had this kind of tension through more of this game. Some threat of failure / death to keep some level of spice in things after we beat Shiggy how many clips ago. That does not look like a very solid block on his part. Hold on, going to, for paranoia's sake, go through the ability to make rice out of nothing. It's not like this guy is especially determined to keep us in his sight and prevent us from just healing as much as we may want. Really? He couldn't hit us from this close because we were down a few stairs. Doesn't this game have any real signs that they actually went through some effort instead of just rushing this thing through to try to make it an Xbox 360 exclusive? Anyway, we're done with that fight. Wait, we most definitely killed that guy. We didn't need Shiggy to secure the kill in the cutscene just after we put the bastard down. Are we getting a second boss fight now?
もはや信光様のお跡目を継ぐ資格あらず。その命、
Really? The blood cleaned itself up while we were still looking at him close up. Again, I'm pretty sure the PS2 games in the same series look better than what we've seen in this one. And good God, that did not sound like the last desperate gasps of someone who just got stabbed through the lungs. It sounds like somebody who's just vaguely annoyed rather than dying, and I guess we're just gonna have to go through a second boss fight, which means it wasn't all that paranoid on my part to get more healing items. Apparently he's gained health since the last time we fought him back on that boat. Wait, that was supposed to be some kind of fire breath? Good God, that fire looks downright garbage. I know I'm regretting not doing a Naruto game instead of this ninja game. Seriously, if we're gonna have fire-breathing ninjas, then we probably need a better combat system around that. Well, he's certainly making things rough for our ending here. Again, why is it the game has an entire moveset for spears, and when we try to use a spear ourselves, we're only allowed one stab with it before it ceases to exist? Sir, you do not have anywhere near enough charisma to mess with your hair in the middle of a fight and look good doing it. Just one more hit and we're done. And that does it. We're finished with Tenchu Z, finally. Oh, for God's sakes, a higher definition cutscene and we have a poorly done sword dragging bit. As the loser of the fight, you don't get to wonder about that sort of thing. Wait, the fuck? When did you get here, Rikimaru? We could have used your help during one of the two boss fights we just dealt with in this room, you jackass. And why are you trying to make things possibly interesting for a sequel when this game feels like a franchise killer to me? Granted, I'm still planning on eventually doing the earlier entries in the series, but to me this was the end, the final entry in Tenchu. It did nothing to make people more interested in the series. No newcomers who grabbed this as their first Tenchu would likely feel all that tempted to get more. The sequel hook never appeared on any home console, and the handheld Tenchu games did not take off after this. Setting fire to the credits then, huh? I'm pretty sure part of the reason the story was so underwhelming is because I set fire to the original script as well.